Welcome back to What's Your Reel. I am one of your hosts, Cameron Bushy. Andy is at home right now. We are, at the time we are recording this, we're in the midst of the coronavirus, so we're keeping our distance. This was recorded about a month ago, just for reference. But today we're sitting down with Levi Smith. He was my youth pastor. He was also the worship leader at the church that Andy and I go to. We had a super fun conversation. We talked about his journey as a worship leader and a part-time filmmaker and photographer on the side. So it was a really awesome conversation. Let's sit down with Levi.
Levi, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here.
What's up, dude?
That's a great question.
Well, hey,
I don't know if you want the full answer to it.
Well, hey, we wanted to catch you while you. I'm still counting you as a Vermonter, at least until tomorrow.
You're one of the only ones.
Really? That is
no one's ever counted me as a Vermonter.
Why?
I'm not like a third or fourth generation Vermonter.
Oh, well,
I lived here for
seven.
You
got to be in here seven
years.
generations.
I was living here for 7 years, not generations. So
that's true. It was 7 years,
yeah.
but you were back for 2 days.
For 2 days,
and you are leaving.
Yeah, it's a little less than 2 days technically, but yeah.
I mean, you got here what, 3 hours ago?
I got here, 3 hours ago.
3 hours ago.
Yeah.
You flew here just for the podcast, which I appreciate. Not to move your family to Dayton,
Ohio. That is our new home. We actually, it's weird because that's like more home than here is because I actually own a house there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I worked on it a lot. And yeah, but I'm here for this podcast and this podcast alone.
Yeah. The fact that there just happens to be a moving truck at your house is a complete coincidence.
Giant moving truck at the house I've been living at. That's true.
Yes. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, thanks for being here. But anyway, our whole point of sitting down is to talk about your story, your story and how it relates to media, because I think you have an interesting one. But I kind of want to take it way back and start way at the beginning, because when did you I think it all started with music long before photo and video, right?
Yeah.
And that was when? High school, before high school?
Yeah, I mean, I started playing music whenever I was in like middle school, with like weird bands that weren't really bands, and then I just got into playing at churches and doing that kind of thing and doing worship music. And that really kind of jump started me into like, okay, there's a product that we're giving to people that has to do with technology, that has to do with like, we're presenting something. So everything from everything was on my plate as a high schooler to create a worship experience, which is all about like, okay, you put the music together. That's what people think of when they think of that. But there's all of the projection stuff. There's all of the like, everyone needs to look at something to know what what you're doing. So that's where I guess the media side of things and kind of my like love for all things production started. And now I still do that all the time. That's my full-time job at a place where I get paid, which is amazing. Let me tell you, I love it. So it's good.
Yeah, you're really going head first into all sorts of production stuff now. I think more than normal, right?
Yeah. So now, from that point till now is it's been such a weird thing. Like the amount of things that I have to oversee versus like, as things go, you never have like less technical things to do. You're never like, you know what, let's subtract stuff. Not all of us are minimalists in all part of our lives. And guess what? Your boss is never going to be a minimalist for you. They're going to be like, hey, guess what? We need to do this. And you're like, that adds 12 new pieces of technology that I have to now master and use each week. So that's part of life, I guess, but yeah, so now I'm overseeing way more technology, way more production material stuff. And like the way we're doing church now is like portable. So not only does it have to work really well, it has to be it has to be set up and torn down in about as much time as I used to do 3 services for doing 1 service. So yeah, it's quite the thing. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm already getting ahead of myself with these questions.
That's fine. I like these questions. I'd have no idea if we're out of order or not. So.
Well, we already are because we're talking about present day. I was supposed to be talking about the beginning. Andy, save us.
Yeah, we got to loop back. All right.
Yeah, let's go back. That's fine.
So let's just start off. What's your passion? What is it that you were doing? What's your...
Yeah, so my what I do I do all kinds of stuff. It's kind of hard to. So what I do like professionally has everything to do with church production stuff. I do Sunday morning worship experiences for a church in Dayton, Ohio. The other side of like what I'm passionate about, I mean, obviously I'm super passionate about that or I wouldn't be doing it. I've like tried to be doing it for such a long time and have been doing it for a long time. So I love what I do professionally. The other side of my like personal professional thing, it's kind of like a hobby still. Like I'm not like a full-fledged business. I think it's very generous of you guys to like say that I'm at the forefront of this kind of thing. Maybe in some aspects, but you know, my video editing, my like photo taking stuff, I've always been passionate about that. I remember my first camera. This is kind of a side note, but like my first camera I got was like still film. That was like what we had. We didn't have it. Maybe there were digital cameras. Like there were some digital aspects to my camera. Like it had like a screen on it, but not like a screen where you could see the picture, like a screen that you could see like what your shutter speed and aperture was. Right. Like that was like the screen on there. It wasn't just in the eyepiece. So, which that's actually probably pretty cool tech too. I don't know. I don't know. This was my first camera.
Yeah, right.
But I remember having to like, I had like 27 pictures that I could take. And sometimes I feel like there was an extra one that was like 27 plus 1 or something like that. I don't know. Sometimes I get 28. I don't know. Maybe I can't remember. I was like 13. Mm-hmm. Maybe even younger. I might have been 12. My parents bought me this camera, and it was so hokey now that I'm thinking about it, because it's like it had like this zoom lens on it, like, but it wasn't like, you know, like a zoom lens, like it was like, and then I had to take a picture. It was so funny. So I got that, and I remember taking it to Williamsburg, Virginia. Yeah,
that's specific, but okay.
Yeah. Specific.
Did I not say
you
that?
said Pacific, I think.
I meant specific.
Anyway, so no, I think I don't know why that's in my memory, but that was like the first time I had my camera and I felt like a real photographer, and I took pictures of like old Williamsburg. Like it was like it's like a, I don't even know, I can't even explain it. It's like a colonial like city or whatever, and so they've got all this historical stuff. So I was taking pictures of it, but I felt like a real photographer because I had my like nice camera and I had like 2 or 3 rolls of film, because my parents were like, we're gonna get you this for vacation. And like, I mean, first of all, what parents take like a 12-year-old to Williamsburg, Virginia? Come on, guys.
That was your vacation?
That was our vacation.
You went to vacation.
Yeah, we were like Airbnb-ing it in like a,
wow.
Before Airbnb was a thing, actually. It was just a regular bed and breakfast. Anyway, so that was the first time that I really was like, I fell in love with the camera, and I was like trying to figure out the settings. All of those pictures were terrible. It was great, which is funny because I had to pay a lot per picture. Now I can take 1 million photos, and then so anyway, I went to college and got like my first like digital SLR, and I actually borrowed a friend's for like a weekend and like took a bunch of pictures, and I was like, I need one of these. So I got a bunch of odd jobs and like saved up and bought one on Craigslist, and that was super sketchy. I was in Chicago and I showed up at like, I don't know, it was like a Shaw's Osco, which is like their grocery store out there, and like their lobby, like they have like a little lobby in it for some reason, which is super strange. Like what? Anyway, what grocery store has a like? I met a Craigslist deal there, and this guy was like, "Here's this camera," you know. I'm like, "Okay, did you steal it?" You know, just try. Like I straight up asked him, because I don't know, maybe he did.
Yeah.
And I was in some like shady part of Chicago, and I bought it for like $300, and sweet. And then I just started taking pictures. It was a Canon what are they called? SLX. Oh man, why can't I remember what it's called? It was one of the first Rebel series. Like it was before the T1 series came out.
I definitely
it was like
know.
an SXI.
That was my first camera.
Was that a camera? SXI? I think that's what it was. So
there were SL, but those are actually really nice. So I don't know.
No, it was not really nice.
Yeah.
It was really nice for that time. Like
Right.
It was 2008 or something like that. So
right.
yeah,
Early
Anyway.
Rebels.
Yeah, the early Rebels. So I fell in love with that.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Butler, Pennsylvania, so north of Pittsburgh, like 45 minutes, something like that. And Western PA is not like, not known for awesome photographers or like it's not like, I mean, there's like a really famous artist from there, but anyway, and like I remember in college they shot a Transformers movie there, and I was super stoked about it. I don't know.
I love. Hey,
I think
actually,
no.
right
Actually,
there.
no, I'm just kidding. That was in Chicago. They shot like. That's really funny. I'm mixing up my cities. That was definitely in Chicago. Hilarious. It was when they were doing.
Yeah, there was.
It wasn't that one.
There was one in
there was one in Chicago, and they had the squirrel suits out of the Sears Tower, which was pretty dope.
But there is a Transformers poster over there for all of you who can't see it.
I don't think the cameras can see it.
It's okay.
Growing up,
what'd
you think you were gonna do?
Oh man, I remember in 4th grade, I thought I would have earrings and green hair. Like I drew a picture of myself. I had the earrings, but I lost the green hair. I didn't go that route. Dude, I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna whenever I think of that question, I always think like everyone always wants to be a rock star, and then kind of like I feel like I'm as close to that as I would actually want to be. I get to play music for people, but it's with a purpose, so I really like that. I think whenever I was really little, I definitely just wanted to be like a meteorologist. Doesn't everyone want to do that? Like the guy and tells the weather. I still think that'd be a dope gig. Like,
what? Because you can just be wrong. Like all the time.
No, like everyone blames you, or you're like everyone's hero or worst enemy. So just depends on the day. I don't know. I feel like I like that.
You get to play with green or blue screen.
Yeah,
I have a feeling you just decided what you were. What you thought.
I literally like when I was like, I remember, dude. This has I don't know why I'm going to tell you this. It had nothing to do with it, but this is great. So, in the height of me wanting to be a meteorologist, in the height of this, there was this exhibit at the Carnegie Science Center. Shout out to Pittsburgh. And yeah, I went there, and there's this. You could like be in front of a green screen. Apparently, I thought this was like a just them thing, but they have one at like Echo down in Burlington. So anyway, I was like pretending to be on this thing, and there was like a line of people, but I was oblivious to the line. I just kept trying it. I kept doing it over and over and over again. Like I don't know how long I was doing it. This one lady, and she was like from downtown Pittsburgh, so she sounded really Pittsburghese, and I'm not going to be able to do the accent right now because I haven't been there for a while, but she's just like, why don't you give everyone else a turn, like, and I was like, oh crap, like there is a ton of people just watching me like do this over and over and over again, and so I was really embarrassed, and that's why I'm not a meteorologist.
That's why. It all boiled down to that moment.
Lady.
With that one lady at the Carnegie Science Center. Now I work for a church.
Well, music happened before any photo and video stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I was making music with a band all through high school. We made music, and they went on to do all kinds of cool stuff. I went to college and kind of started trying to do everything myself. Not everything myself, but kind of be the one-man band kind of deal. Go play with different musicians, and then whenever they didn't, that's when I kind of got into the technology side of music, where I was making stuff on Ableton and running tracks for everything, and we do that on a weekly basis in my current gig too. So like, that's something that I was like, I think I got into that pretty early on when that was kind of starting to take off, in late 2000s. Is that what you say? The 2000s?
I think so.
2000, like 8, 9, 10. Like that's like, it's not the 10s anyway. I don't know what you call that. Now we're in the 20s, which is
you could say
insane.
teens,
I've been doing,
but we're not that.
It's weird to think that I've been doing like stuff with music software for like 10 years.
That's a lot of years.
Like a decade. Yeah, I've been playing music and doing that. So yeah, being creative in that sense, yeah, like I've been doing that for a long time. And really, I mean, it's only been like 8 years or so that I've been doing the like photo stuff, and like 6 years doing video stuff. So, and those are just like a little less, but in the vlog days, I was doing that a lot.
True. You did daily for a while.
I did. It was
you did daily for like 4 days.
For like 4 days, yeah. It was. I
Which
was
is
like
harder than it sounds.
I was like, if I can make it a week, this would be great. I made it 4 days. Like I was like, I'm just gonna try it. I don't know how anyone does that without like a team of people. It's ridiculous the amount of work it takes. But like, I deleted all those videos. I didn't delete them; they're all hidden. But like, I looked back after like a couple weeks or whatever, and I was just like, dude, this is wow.
A learning experience.
I learned a lot. But that's what, I guess that's what actually like got me proficient. Can I say I'm proficient in video editing? I mean, I get paid for it a bunch, but I mean,
That makes you a professional.
yeah, I'm a professional.
You're an expert if you're good at it.
Yeah.
You know, you're a professional
So
if you're paid.
I'm a professional, but I wouldn't even say that. Like, I don't try to be professional at it. So, but I'm proficient in it at least. And so I can make sure, like, you know, an edit looks cohesive. And so, yeah, I mean, that's where I learned all those skills, was just like, hey, I'm going to make this happen. And that's kind of been my entire story. Like, with anything creative, it's always been I'm just going to make this happen. How do I make it happen? YouTube the crap out of it until I find out what the answer is, or Google it or something, because I'm a millennial and that's what we do. Why ask for help when I can Google it?
True.
And, you know,
Not
that's just kind of like, I'm going to go figure out how to do it and find the answer and make it happen. And as long as I'm enjoying it and having fun, like, sweet. That stuff's fun to me. It's fun to all of us, isn't it? I mean, that's why we do it.
That's why we're here.
That's why we do it. Like, we're like, it'd be sweet to get that lighting right. It'd be sweet to, like, put that video together or tell a story that way. And so that's why, I don't know, that's why we do this stuff.
So you went to college. What'd you major in?
Yeah, I went to the Moody Bible Institute, which is not a... Well, they have, like, communication stuff. I was going to say it's not like a production, like, powerhouse place to go. It's a Bible powerhouse place to go. And I learned how to study the Bible. My major, I have a Bachelor of Arts in the Bible and youth ministry. I still use the Bible part of that. And I still like teenagers, but I don't work with them directly right now. So
Well, you used the youth ministry part for the last
I was gonna say, you've been a
7
month
years?
out of.
I know, but like,
school.
I haven't done anything with students for that entire month. It feels really weird to be.
That must be
into a new
very
season.
weird.
Yeah,
disconnected.
It's a new season, so you know I'm getting used to that. But you know, it's good. It's good. It's good stuff. I miss teenagers, but
Yeah, I mean that's like
it's
cutting out like editing and
Yeah,
just shooting.
For some people, that would
Like-
be great. Like, I know you would love to do
I
that.
would love that.
But at the same time, like, you know, it is taking a part of, it's like taking a part of who you are and kind of being like, yeah, just put that on hold for right now. And that's cool. Like, I'm good with that. We're in a new season and I got a house I got to worry about. So
Yeah.
I'm fine with having a little bit less responsibility with that, but yeah.
So you didn't go to school for anything related to music or
I went to school for nothing related to actually like,
music or photo or
yeah,
video or anything.
like the things that I need to be an expert in, I didn't go to school for.
Yeah, that's
At
interesting.
all. Yeah, which is funny. Like, there's a base knowledge that I have that's like about ministry that I learned in school, but and working in like the church world. But yeah, the things that I do on a daily basis, like all the mindset stuff came with my schooling, but like none of the practical things. Like all the practical stuff I learned by actually just doing it. And there's certain things that you could probably learn, like that would have been easier if I would have went to school, you know, and they would have taught me like, here's how to run ProPresenter, or here's how to like create things that people are going to actually like looking at. But I just had to figure that out by like trying stuff and seeing things and kind of playing with it along the way.
But you're glad you went.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a like complicated question, because if I would have had like tons of school debt, like that would have been, I would have been terribly like upset that I went. But I didn't, and that was part of the school that I went to, and part of my parents being awesome, and you know, part of working really hard too. So I mean, a bunch of different scenarios to get to that. Like, I didn't graduate with a bunch of debt, so
Yeah.
I've got a lot of friends who graduate with a bunch of debt, and they're like, I don't know what to do, and I'm like, yeah, sorry, buddy, don't. Maybe you should have thought about that.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
That would make it difficult.
Yeah.
So after college, you get your first job doing music? ?
Yeah.
And that's here.
That was at Essex, yeah.
I mean, that was right out of school, right?
Yeah, I graduated, got married, and then like within like the 3-month period I graduated, got married, and then like moved to Vermont from Pennsylvania. Actually, technically I moved like from Chicago. I got married in Pennsylvania. There was like a pit stop. It was like, just gonna pull in here, get married, and then we're going up to Vermont. That cool? And then Leah was like, yeah, let's do this thing. So Yeah.
Well, my first question of many about
Yeah.
that is, what are you doing up here? Why Vermont? Was there just a job?
Yeah, there was. So I was like looking for a ministry job specifically. I was looking for somewhere where I could fit well. I was looking for people that I want to work with and learn a lot, because I knew going into it I would need to learn a bunch of things. Like I think I was wise enough at the time to know I didn't know everything I needed to know to be successful. Like getting a piece of paper, like graduating and getting a piece of paper doesn't really mean anything. It means that you put in some work and that you paid a lot of money for a piece of paper, which like lots of people can do. But actually being successful in what you're doing means that you need to learn from people who have been doing it for a long time. And so I came to Essex knowing that I would learn a lot because there was a lot of experience in ministry at the church. I knew that I'd fit in well in the culture, and like that I like, it was also kind of like a, do you know somebody there? Like, I mean, everyone's probably heard, like, it's good. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Like, that's not always true. Like, you do have to know some stuff. I think like everyone in this world knows, like, you've got to know some stuff to actually be able to do something, but like who you know is a huge part of it. And that was a huge reason that I came to Essex, is that like I grew up in a church that knew the leadership of our church, and they're like, hey, like, I think they talked about me before, like they saw my resume and they talked about me before we even like talked, which I don't know if that's legal or not, but like, I don't know. I think it's fine. I was fine with it.
I'm
I got
sure
the job,
most
so.
everybody does that,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't worry about legality.
I don't, and technically, for the record, I don't know if anyone did that or not, but I just always like kind of assumed. I was like, they had to have called and been like, hey, this kid went to your church. Is he cool? It's,
But
it's not a
it's all
weirdo.
who you
right?
know.
Yeah,
It
So-
really is.
But yeah, so I think that was helpful. And you know what, like, it was an adventure for me, like right out of school, like moving to Vermont. It was like, ooh, Vermont.
With a wife.
With a wife who was like, where's Vermont? We live like 2 states away. And she learned, like, she was like, okay, it's up there, up somewhere near Canada.
Yeah.
So we moved here.
It's crazy you're closing the door on that chapter, but
It's weird. Yeah, we're moving back to like the Midwest, which is odd. More Midwest than we were before, actually. It's like further into the Midwest.
yeah.
So Dayton, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. What's this button do?
Click it.
No, I don't want to.
No, click it.
Do it.
It's gonna keep going, just so you know.
Until I turn this off.
Hit it. In Trevor's podcast, he
That's
loves
the worst.
All right. We got to keep this sound pad out for all of our guests.
I know.
This is awesome.
Trevor had two favorites. He used that one a lot, and he used this one a lot. Yeah. Anyway, they are kind of fun. There's a whole lot of them, dude.
Wow.
You can't have a. This is
Can you program whatever you want into
Yeah,
these?
Yeah.
you can.
So you should pre-record your like intro.
Yeah.
And play it with the music and stuff, because that'll really get you going.
Once Trevor gives us a little jingle clip, then we can key that up, then we can just hit go, and then that saves even
What's the
more.
title of this again? I'm gonna write a jingle for you guys.
What's
too.
your reel?
Yeah.
Do. What's your reel? That's it. Like, that should be it.
It's good.
That should be it.
That's gonna be the intro.
Just sample that. Like speed it up and like change the key on it, and it'll sound like, something really cool.
Do. What's your reel? Something like that.
That's it. Yeah.
Done. Easy.
And like one little splash symbol.
Here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna give Trevor the soundbite of you saying that, and we'll let Trevor do the rest of it.
It'll probably be awesome.
I know.
I will say, if you can make your podcast intro thing really short, I so appreciate that. Like, it's great. It's great to like say it every time, but if you're gonna say it every time, just make it like concise.
Right.
That's to the
Okay,
point.
this is a really good thing. This is bonus material for you.
Okay.
But if you're going to say something, it's easy. I think I've told you this a lot of times. It's easy to say something in a long form thing. you can make a point over and over and over again, just like I'm doing right now. I'm taking a long time to explain something. That's what podcasting is, kind of.
True.
But it's very hard to say something really important in a very short time frame. So saying it concisely is like, it's what makes you a great communicator. And so if you're making a video, like having a 3-hour long film, AKA like Endgame or whatever else is out there, you know, there are like Lord of the Rings, all of them. The last Lord of the Rings is like 3 hours and 20 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, but it's a great.
It's a great movie.
Minutes.
Okay, it's a great movie. I'm not saying that's not a great movie. That movie's packed, but it's like, of course, like Peter Jackson's gonna make this amazing film in that time. That was awesome. But what I'm saying is like, you can make a 3-hour movie and it's gonna totally suck. It'd be better to make a 5-minute video that's really stinking good.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do. Like, I want to make, because it's in today's world where you're just like scrolling through, like to get somebody to stop scrolling is a huge deal. And then if they're going to watch you for 3 hours, like they're not going to watch that. Like no one's got that time, because there's so much other stuff that they can be doing and looking at and consuming. So just, I mean, in the world that I live in, like it's like so important to grab somebody's attention. And I'm in like we're in this weird middle ground in the church world of like, we need to be both like really good live and also like really good online, because we're doing both all the time. So we have to be really good at that, like finding that balance of making things like actually work for, anyway, say things concisely, because there's so much out there, like say things that really matter. And I guess fine tune that, work really hard at doing that so that, you know, people actually hear your message, because they're just going to scroll past it in like 3.5 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
That 0.3 seconds.
Yeah. That actually gives me an interesting thought though.
3 minutes to explain how to get to the point.
Yeah. How
Yes.
how has you know, obviously your background I say now in youth ministry. That's interesting. Your background in youth ministry.
Yeah.
Obviously a whole lot of that is teaching. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how much has that influenced, I mean, I don't know how much it could influence worship leading. I guess it could, but obviously it has influenced filmmaking.
Yeah.
I don't know if it could influence photography. I don't really know.
Sure.
But how is that? Because you said you had been doing photography stuff since you were 12 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like,
weird.
how have those gone hand in hand? If at all.
Well, no, I think, first of all, I think we're like, everything we do is kind of connected and influences everything else you do. So, you know, if you spend time like in church world, it's going to influence, if you spend time with teenagers, it's going to influence the way you look at things. It's going to influence, like, dude, like looking at like, some of our students, like photography stuff has influenced my photography. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty dope. Like maybe I could shoot like that, you know? And I think we're all like, every time you're looking at things, especially now, like there's so much to look at. Everyone can just publish whatever they want. I think like we take all that stuff and then we make it our own. And making it our own is just stealing everyone's little ideas and putting them all together to make yours, you know? Like, I feel like I'm the worst, like, what's the word, like, you like copywriting things? Is that, what? It's not copywriting things.
Pirating?
No, that's like, no, it's like a school word. I went to college and I don't remember it.
Starts with a P.
Well, I didn't go to college, so I'm not going to know it.
You got to cut this all out because I can't remember the word. It's going to be embarrassing. Don't cut it out. It's fine. I don't care.
Wait, what?
What's the stinking word?
It's kind of like procrastinating, but it's not.
It's not procrastinating.
Wait, but you're copying somebody?
Yes. Oh, man.
I don't have any idea.
This is why we have Google.
I mean, I don't
it's like
know at
on
all.
the tip of my tongue.
Face ID. Come on. The mic. All right. Hold on.
This is kind of hilarious.
Word for
Project.
copy.
Project. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Synonyms. This is not what I want. Another word for copying. Plagiarism.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that was
Green button.
Green button is the one. That's that's bad.
I wanted everyone to laugh at us, actually.
That's bad for all of us.
Oh man,
That didn't come to mind. That's so staying in there. That's hilarious.
Oh man.
In my defense,
It is.
this is a Sunday night at 10:30.
Yeah, you had church this morning.
I had church this morning.
And then you flew here just
and
to
then
be
I
here.
flew here after a week long like trying to get my house livable.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
That's so funny. Anyway,
stick that in there.
while you're in Vermont, well, I guess while you're in Vermont is really when you started making videos. If you said it was
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Surely.
I know a lot of that had to do because of me. No, I'm just kidding. But
It was actually around the same time. Like I started making some
I was a
videos,
freshman 6 years ago.
and yeah, you were like fresh into the ministry, and like, yeah, I was just looking to like tell stories of like what was happening, and I was looking at like here's what's happening in students, and like people are like watching tons of videos, like all these teenagers are watching videos, and I was like, I need to do what needs to be done in order to get people like to actually see this stuff, because getting like students to come to a big gathering just wasn't working. Like we were trying all these big, huge events, and like it was really difficult for some reason for us, which had worked for years and years and years in student ministry, like having these huge events, and it still works if you do it right, but like you have to have the right kind of community. Anyway, I can get way too far into that, but like I got into making videos because I wanted it to be a doorway into the student ministry. Like I wanted to use that as an avenue for like our ministry to be seen, and for like the word of God to be known beyond the walls of our church and the hour and a half that we had programmed stuff for teenagers. I wanted them to be able to like see it. And so it just started as like, let's make recap videos of like, I think like the first time I went like really hard at it was like whenever we were like, we went to Soul Fest, and I took my GoPro and I filmed stuff and I edited it. Like that was almost like a daily thing. Like I did like a daily recap thing, and it was just like me and 12 students and a couple of our leaders, and we went and we all watched a bunch of concerts and we did a bunch of fun stuff, and I just like took my GoPro around and filmed a bunch, and then like I took my computer out. Like I wake up before everyone anyway. That's just how I'm wired. And I would edit everything and I would post it to Instagram or Facebook. I don't even remember what I posted it to. I posted it to something, but I remember I posted it and I was like, maybe people will like this. And I don't know if anything ever came of it, but like people watched it. I could probably look back and see how many views are on there, but
Yeah.
I wasn't doing it for the views. I was just doing it to be like, hey, let's just share what we're doing. And people do this all the time. It's just like a normal thing. So I just put little recap videos together for Soul Fest. And then I just started doing that. And then like I realized pretty quickly that it was a big job that needed to be done really well. And so you were a student in our ministry, and I was like, dude, come make a video at Deep Freeze. I need somebody to help. And I brought my camera. It was great. Like there were a couple of times we went to Deep Freeze where we had like 3 or 4 or 5 people like filming.
Yeah, like shooting with legit stuff. Too.
Yeah, like we had
Hilarious.
like nice cameras and like gimbals, and like I was droning everywhere.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like that was like a season in our ministry where we just had like, because we made that stuff, this is what's cool, I think, because we were making those things, even if it was irregular, like I wasn't like always on with video. It was just like, sometimes I was doing it. Like it kind of was a way for people to be like, oh, like I can do this with you guys. Like, and I was always just like, yes, you can. You have a camera, bring it. If we don't use any of your footage, don't have your like feelings hurt.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Cause there's 6 people doing this right now. We're making a 3-minute video. So
Exactly.
like we can't use everyone's footage, but it was one of those things where I was just like, yeah, bring your camera. And you know, like I remember, I don't know if it was the first Night to Shine video, but I had, cause I edited that one.
Yeah,
you didn't edit that one.
You did the first one.
And we had like 3, you were shooting, and I had a bunch of other people shooting video
there's
that
a lot
time.
of us.
And I don't even think I was shooting the video. I think I was running other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like I had to put the video together with everyone else's footage, which is
hard.
so difficult.
It's really hard.
And I only had 24 hours to get it done.
Yeah.
So I mean, like the timing of it, like I had to have, I we had to get all that stuff put together, and it ended up being decent. I mean, obviously they've gotten better and better as like we've refined that process, but and yours this year was awesome, dude. It was really good.
Yeah, thanks. It almost killed me.
Yeah.
So this year for Night to Shine. So Night to Shine is a prom for special needs. Tim Tebow Foundation does it, all this stuff. Basically, it happens on a Friday night, and Sunday morning we show the recap video.
Yeah.
So it is a ridiculous turnaround time. This year, dude, was amazing. I don't know how it worked. Shot the video Friday night in a crazy snowstorm. Like, that's a whole 15-minute conversation on
20 inches of snow that
20 inches of snow that
Yeah.
afternoon. I got stuck for hours, lost a windshield wiper. It was crazy. Like, it was crazy. But shot the video Friday night. I came home. I edited until 3 in the morning that night. Slept for 3 hours, woke up at 6, went snowboarding all day.
Priorities, you know.
Priorities. Dude, well, it was a pow day. I mean, the snowstorm that we got on Friday, I couldn't miss it. So, and then, I come back Saturday afternoon. I finished it. I went to bed around 10 that night, and then I was up shooting interviews at church the next morning.
I was in Dayton during this time frame that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
We got 2 inches of snow.
Did it like shut
It was
everything
still a
down?
snow day.
Or
It was still a snow day.
So that's what Dayton is like, huh?
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, you guys had snow day? Like, you guys had a legit snow day on Friday? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the mountain got
like,
20,
like 3 inches of
23 inches overnight,
sweet.
or on Friday. It was awesome.
That's sweet.
Anyway, you spend your time in Vermont, and you are leaving us. You left a month ago.
Yeah.
You left alone. You left your family here.
I did. I got off the plane. I've like put my kids to bed and then I came here. So, I haven't seen them for a month. So,
That's crazy.
You're welcome.
I know. Well, you came here for this, so I'm not that sorry.
Yeah,
but no, so
want to loop back? You're trailed off there. After
I know
Night
I
to
trailed
Shine.
off. Where do you want to go?
We were talking about how he was shooting video periodically with students, and it sounded like that really brought together like a team of students and really built a connection there.
Oh,
Yeah.
we were talking about
Did you
that.
think it was an effective outreach strategy to bring more people in as well?
I've always felt like there's an opportunity specifically with students. But really, like, if specifically with students, I really feel like if it works in student ministry, it's probably going to work with adults. It's just they have different levels of engagement because they have more responsibility. But with students, I found like, man, if a kid wants to do something, like, give them the opportunity. Just say yes to them, because that's like, I've always looked for ways for people to get invested instead of just like being involved. Like, if and there's a difference between being just involved and invested, right? Like, so I have like skin in the game, like, which is a phrase that people use. I always get crap for that. Like, people are always like, skin in the game, what are you talking about? But like, that's actually a phrase. It might be a Western Pennsylvania thing, but it's fine. So, like, you want somebody to for somebody to put time in is one level of investment, but for them to bring their own gear and to show up and like be somewhere on time, and like, those are all like different levels of investment. And so don't just come to the ministry, like, find a way to get involved. And so, I think it does work as an outreach thing, because, when some kid comes to one of our events, say like the Blitz, which was our traditional like outreach student event, like, it was this big thing
Kickoff.
it was a big kickoff. We were like, everyone invite your friends. We're going to have a huge party. And when they see like a student there, like their peer with like a super nice camera on a gimbal, like going around, like just getting footage of like everyone having fun, they're like, I want to do that. How do I do that? And then they come back again and they're like, does this happen all the time? So, it's not like we had a kid with a gimbal running around every event, but it got them like more interested. So I think when people can see themselves doing something, like they see someone like themselves doing something that's like they're passionate about. I mean, why do you think people like always want to get involved with music? I'm in the music ministry. People are always like, oh, I'd love to do that. That'd be great. Because they're seeing people who are passionate about something do what they love in front of them, and it's just like right in front of them. You can't miss it. And so I think when people see themselves in a position, they want to get invested and they want to do that. And so like say yes to it, you know? And of course in the church world, like there's different like levels of that. Like you don't want like, you know, people who don't believe in God, like leading in a certain way. So you gotta have some boundaries on that. But yeah, that's, I definitely think it's a good like outreach thing to be able to say, yeah, like when you can say yes, you know, if it's just holding a camera, like there is no level of spirituality that you need to have to be able to hold a camera to lead people. Like you can literally like, I would give a camera to somebody who's just good at filming or even just passionate about it and say like, hey, yeah, do you want to film a baptism? That'd be great, you know, because they're not going to be sharing the gospel with somebody. My hope and prayer is that, you know, and there's some level of that. That's a good conversation to have where it's like, you know, they're a representation of our church, they're a representation of our organization. So, but that's with anything. I mean,
there's some responsibility.
Yeah, there's responsibility. And so, but it opens the door to have that conversation and say, oh, you want to do this? That's great. Yes, you can, but let's have a conversation first. So
there's some responsibility, but it's kind of low barrier to entry.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not like you got to go through and have a theological position paper to do it, you know,
nor a film degree to
it's like church event. You know, let's train you a little bit, let's equip you to do what you want to do. And I think if you can say yes and it ends up working out where people will stick around and be more invested. So
what, you know, I mean, you do so many different aspects of like, you have the music, you have the photography, because like we haven't even talked about the whole headshot thing that you started doing.
Yeah, like, the headshot thing. Oh, I'm sad every time I think about my business cards because I have business cards that I made specifically for my headshot business because it's definitely like the easiest way to like on my schedule make some extra money.
Yeah.
I don't have to put like 12-hour days in for like a wedding video. I don't have to put like another 3 weeks into like editing that video to like.
Yeah, you've done your fair share of wedding videos.
I've done them. Yeah, I've done them. And you know what? Like they're fun. For friends, I say yes, but otherwise I'm like, nah, I don't really want to do that. So my avenue for like side hustle thing was like, oh, I'll do some headshots. And I got all these business cards made and put like my Vermont address on them and all this stuff. And I passed a bunch out, which is great. But at the same time, I'm like, but none of these are good anymore. I still have like a box of them. That's you know, I didn't get through many of them.
For the archives. But I mean, you started doing this headshot thing. Yeah. Which I think is hilarious.
What'd you charge for a headshot?
So yeah, like it depends on what you want. Like for like one picture. Yeah. For one picture, like for me to come do a session that's not in my like studio, like I'll go somewhere and like set up for somebody.
Lights,
but like
whatever.
Yeah, but that package would start at like $300. So
okay,
yeah,
that's good. But side hustle cash.
Yeah, I know. So like if I'm doing that, but if it's just like in my studio and everything's already set up, which is sweet, that I will still have some space. It's not as nice as the space that I've had here in Vermont, but I will have a space where I'll be able to do those and have like a controlled environment. So, but yeah, if it's just that and they're just like, hey, I just want one picture, it's like, oh, I can do that it depends on the person, to be honest. Like if it's if it's a business, I know like I'm going to charge more because they're using their business budget. If it's a friend that's calling me, like a lot of times I just do it, you know? But if it's somebody that's like, you know, I don't do that very often, you know, I'm like, hey, yeah, whatever it's going to be. But you know, I kind of make a decision as I go. It's very fluid. That's the funny thing is like, I want to keep it kind of fluid, my pricing stuff, because it's going to change. Like,
oh, for sure.
It changes, like the atmosphere around that changes quite a lot. Because some people are cool with like it being, you know, they take a portrait mode with their with their iPhone, and then they look at a picture I take and they go, why does mine look like crap? And I go, because you took it with your iPhone. And I actually know what I'm doing, you know. So, you know, I think that's one of the things where it's like, you know, you kind of have to figure out what the person's expectation is.
It's value-based pricing.
Right.
is what you're saying, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine. That's that's totally normal.
I'm not going to give you my price list on this podcast.
I'm not asking for
somebody's
it.
going to listen to it in 2 years when this podcast is there, and they'll be like, I can get a headshot from Levi for $14.95. It's like, no.
Yeah, no, that is not
and
the
I'm
going
sure it
rate.
changes. If somebody wants a headshot next week, well, you're moving, you're putting your house back together. Well, okay, I'll do it, but it's going to cost you $1,000.
Yeah, it's going to cost you.
Exactly. Make it worth it.
Worth my time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, where I was going with that is like, kind of like who do you look up to? And I mean, you're very much in the church world. Maybe that's you look up to us. Like we're gonna get to what you're doing now, and because I think you do a whole lot of tech stuff. I mean, even when you were here, you're doing a lot of tech stuff. Which is awkward because I'm the tech guy at the church.
I was doing your job,
but it was great. I'm doing fine, by the way. Thanks for asking. No, I'm just kidding.
You were doing fine before.
No, but it's like, I think part of that was just because you said this earlier, but you're kind of just like, let's just get it done, kind of attitude.
Yeah.
But you dove into like all aspects of production while you were here, which is also part of it. What was the question? The question was, who do you look up to? And now we're talking about church production again.
Yeah. We have single track minds in some ways. It's like, how do you do that? I want to know. What's your process? Yeah, I get it.
Either way. Anybody you look up to?
So, I mean, I look up to lots of people. I think one of the things that I have been really intentional about is finding people who know more than me and read their stuff, follow them on Instagram, because I mean that's what we do now. But like even whenever I was younger, it was always like find people who know what they're talking about and just spend time with them if they'll allow me to, So like I kind of wanted to go into ministry. I spent a lot of time with my youth pastor because he was the only pastor that would say yes to hang out with me. So that's what he was paid to do, I guess. So it's one of those things where like I'm always looking for people that know more than me that I could see myself being. A lot of that right now has to do with leadership because I have to oversee a lot of people and I want to lead people well. So, I'm listening to podcasts all the time of, the Carey Nieuwhof leadership podcast, the Craig Rochelle, the Andy Stanley. Those guys are like super great leaders. It's like, I want to listen to them, learn from them. But you know what? Like I look up to, like people in the photography world. Like I'm looking at Peter Hurler. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's a headshot dude. Like, and he's really funny. Like I follow his Instagram. He's hilarious. Maybe I think he's funny because it's like dad humor. I don't know. Like you might have to be a dad to think he's funny. You probably think he's kind of lame, but that's fine.
Noted.
He also charges a whole lot more than me for headshots. So
that's okay.
His sessions are really expensive, and I have found out how much his are. They do change quite frequently though too. So, but yeah, like I follow his stuff and just like, I actually like I even got like a master class with him teaching it, and I was just like, man, like that's how much I like this stuff. That I was like, I'm gonna pay a little bit of money to hear like about how he sets up his lighting, how he does like how his process works. When it comes to like the music side of things that I do and like church production world stuff, I'm always looking at like the people who are doing it best. I don't think anyone doesn't know who Hillsong is, but like you just watch their stuff and you go, they do stuff really well. If you watch Elevation stuff, they do it really well. I don't like steal everything that they do, and I don't think we need to be those people or those churches or whatever, but like I think we can learn a lot from them. I look at all the bands that like I feel are doing things intentionally, like they've thought through a process and they're doing that. Like I'll look into how they're doing things. I've learned a lot about Ableton stuff from the guys at multitracks.com, so like they're like living this stuff out. Like they're like their whole business is built on it. I should learn from them on this. So because they've built this big business, I look at that kind of thing. And so you look up to people who are successful but also like can explain it well, and that's what I guess I look up to that.
Yeah,
those kind of things.
You and I had that conversation where we were talking at one point about how, older generations have this expectation of they just need to like walk in and like figure things out and write the book on all these things.
Sure.
Where you and I will look and be like, well, a bunch of people are already doing it. We can just go look at what they did and start there. Like, yeah, don't carbon copy it. But, with pretty much anything now, it's been done before.
Yeah.
Just go look at how the best people are doing it, and then start there. Anyway, that was also related to the church world, but
it's related to everything.
Yeah,
I mean, just think about it. The old way of learning how to like make videos was like you go to school and somebody who has a piece of paper that says they're really smart and did all these things and has all these credentials do this. But then like now I just go on YouTube and like Joe's Basement like studio is saying, hey, I'm making this tutorial on how to cut and paste in Premiere Pro, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I'm gonna learn from Joe's Basement Studios,
yeah, it's amazing.
And he probably doesn't have a degree either. He just spent a lot of time figuring it out, or like watched another YouTube, watched another, and then like posted it again, So don't start from zero. Start at
you'll never get anywhere if you start at zero.
Well, I mean,
and I mean that
have gotten somewhere.
I mean that by like, if you have the information to start somewhere, then just start somewhere.
Which our generations have that previous generations did not. We grew up with the internet, and I think that's kind of where you were getting.
Did you build your house with the internet?
A lot. Yeah, I watched a lot of videos.
See, I was thinking, it's like, man, like I just fixed my house.
Are you fixing your house?
I fixed my house with the internet. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know how a sump pump's supposed to work. I'm gonna Google it, and then I fix my sump pump and it's working now. So you know what I mean? Like, we do this for like our profession. We do it for like the house we live in. Everyone's doing it. Like we live in an age where it's just you're clicks away from getting the answer. So just look it up.
Nothing beats a dad and a father-in-law who built their own house, though. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, my father-in-law was up there this weekend. He literally he was there on Thursday, Friday, and he got up to Thursday. He left like tonight after it was like 10 o'clock. He left. I got a message like right as I was walking in here.
Oh, wow.
Like, he was just now leaving my house.
Dang,
he was still
crazy.
working on stuff. Thanks, Dad.
How do you think all that applies to like the passion side of photo and video? Do you think you're any more passionate about it because it's easier to get information, or do you think you'd be just as passionate about it without having that information readily available?
That's a good question. I think I enjoy it more because it's not as frustrating to learn. I think that's true.
That's good.
But like, I would still do it. You know what I mean? Like, it would be frustrating. Like, there's so many times I'd be editing a video and I'd be like, I don't know how to stink and do this. Like, I want to be able to do this, and I get so frustrated that I forgot one step that was going to ruin my entire thing, and I didn't know the one trick that you needed to know. And then I spent like an hour Googling it to like figure out how to like do that thing I should have remembered how to do. How many times have I tried to do that one I've had to re-look up that one Peter McKinnon video where he explains how to make audio file any length that you want, and it's
he did do that.
I do that so many times. Like, I should remember this. I've done it so many times for so many videos that I've been making, because I'll get to the end of editing and I'll be like, I need some music. Like, how long is this going to be? So yeah, that's
actually funny you mentioned that, because all of my repeat tutorials are all about audio.
Yeah.
Audio related. But I'm always trying to figure out how to take out background noise.
Yeah.
It's like, I've done it so many times. It's like, Command P makes a noise print, and then you
it's called know how to record it originally.
Okay, listen, bro.
Don't fix it in post. Shoot it.
Oh,
right
we'll fix it later. Just shoot it right.
I wish we were all perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's just jump to the point that I've been avoiding this whole time. You moved to Dayton, the land of skateboarding.
Yeah.
You're gonna be hanging out with Rob Dyrdek now.
I hope so. That'd be so sweet.
So Rob Dyrdek's parents go to your church.
I think so. I've heard that rumor.
Which is a great rumor. I'm good with that as a rumor. I think it's awesome.
That's a cool rumor.
If you ever meet Rob Dyrdek, you give him a high five and say it's from Cam.
I will.
Okay, I appreciate
I doubt that I will, unless his family lives like in the community where we're launching a campus. Then I doubt they'll probably always go to the main campus, but maybe not. Maybe they'll come to our campus.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But what you're doing is kind of interesting. So what are you doing in Dayton?
So I am helping the church that I'm working for now. I'm helping them launch a campus. I am their worship leader. But that doesn't mean I just like sing on Sundays and that's all I do all week. Actually, like we spend a fair amount of time not just planning the service, but making sure that everything's like really well produced. And we've got a team of people that are doing that. And I oversee it for our campus, which I'm still kind of figuring out what that looks like, because our campus right now isn't where it's going to be. Not permanent, like it's definitely not gonna be permanent, like, but for the foreseeable future, we're launching in like 3 weeks at the high school in the community that we're starting this campus in. And so I oversee all of that, all of the portable church stuff that we're doing. Like I'm making sure that it works. I'm super blessed to have this dude that I work with. His name's Jason. I think he's 19. He's like the same age as you. And like, he's a genius. He knows like all this tech stuff. So like the network that we're running, like luckily I understand it. Like I've been around it long enough to be like, okay, I know this stuff. But it would be super overwhelming for somebody to come in and be like, how do I learn this if they just knew music? You have to have an understanding of like, here's how the technology works. Here's how things talk together. Here's how how network audio works. Like if you didn't know that, like you would not be able to do this job. Like
that's rough.
Yeah.
Networking in the audio world is something you gotta
so
grasp.
we're doing that, but it's also like, we got to make it portable. And so I'm super blessed to have Jason on the team because he's really smart. And he like lives in that world. Like he'd see this and know how it worked somehow.
Without ever seeing it before.
I see this and I'm like, I know I could make that work. He would talk on a level that's like, oh, that's the such and such is such and such. I don't even know the words. Like he talks, I understand like 40% of what he's saying, and then I can make a decision on whether or not we should buy it or not. So that's like today we were like, I was on my way here and he's texting me about some gear and he's like, I'm like, do some research and tell me what you think. And he sent me this whole like thing within like 5 minutes about like why we should buy this one piece of gear. And I was like, sweet.
That's awesome.
That's great. I agree with everything you're saying. I understand it less than you do, but that's fine with me.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Like the cool thing about what we're doing is that we're basically church planting in a community without like having to go there without knowing anyone, and without the like financial support and like, because we have like a central campus that is like, hey, we're gonna support you guys, we're gonna set you up for success. They have the plan and they're just getting people to implement that plan. And so they got me to come and be a part of that. And I'm super pumped for it. It's a sweet church, and it's cool to be like, I don't know. It's cool to be like starting something new. That's what I'm like super pumped about. I haven't in my ministry time, like, even like whenever I was in like high school, like it was always like a program or something that's existed forever. And this is something that's like, hey, we're starting a new thing. And so I'm really excited to be a part of something from like the ground level and help build it. And that's something that like, I don't think many people get the chance to do in the church world right now. Like I feel like churches have been around forever. And even though it's not like totally new, it's just something that like, I feel like I'm blessed to be able to do, because it's one of those, like, I don't know, something that's always kind of been like, well, I'll probably never be able to do that because there's so many churches that already exist. But to start something and like create it, that's a cool thing. I like that.
Yeah. And I mean, the main campus is, technology wise, like kind of a leader. In that sense, where it's like, it's not like they're catching up or anything like that.
No, not at all.
So you kind of,
I'm catching up.
Yeah, it's kind of
still wrapping my head
interesting
around how we do things.
You have the infrastructure of like, the people who like do it. You guys are live streaming.
We run like full like broadcast camera level stuff. Like news stations could walk into our stage and do their news program kind of thing.
So you're setting up in high schools, so that you're like pop up in high school, and then you're setting up like a worship set, so like music speakers. Yeah. And then you're streaming in the sermon part.
Yeah, then we're streaming in the sermon part. So yeah, like I think our campus has like 200 people in it right now. But the other campuses, like we're like the 4th campus that they have. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like there's going to be a time, and I was thinking about this morning, like, when their main campus won't be the main campus anymore. Like the other campuses will be, and they're set up right now for the other campuses to be bigger than the main campus, even though it's not true right now. They've got thousands of people that come to their main campus, but these other satellite campuses are going to outnumber that eventually, because there's more room for growth there. So, they're set up right now with the broadcast level stuff and like the systems in place to make that happen, because they're looking to the future and going, hey, this is going to happen. It's just a matter of time. So
that's so unique.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
It's really sweet. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like they've got people who are thinking ahead on it. And that's like, I love it because, I get to think about my specialized area. I'm thinking about, all right, what's this going to look like at my campus? Are people connecting with God? Are the songs we're choosing going to fit? Are the musicians that are on stage good? Is the lighting that we have? Even, I mean, right now it's at the level of like, we need to purchase the lights that we're going to have in the room.
Oh, wow.
And we're so like, and then we've got to call the high school and say, hey, can we mount these? Can we keep them there? You guys can use them. It'd be cool for you.
Yeah.
But you can't move them. Like they have to stay in the same spot. Like they have to be just like this.
Ready to go.
But yeah, so like it's all of those kind of conversations. So it's definitely like I get to live in that world, and it's cool that I have like the support and stuff of people that are like, hey, let's do this way, and think about not just where you want to be to make it work tomorrow, but why don't you get the thing that is going to work in 5 years,
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, if it's a computer, it's not going to work in 5 years. So let's just get whatever works today.
Yeah.
But if it's this like, drum set, yeah, let's get the good one, so.
Sure.
It's cool.
Yeah. So I think obviously you're really diving into a crazy transition now.
Sure.
With the whole family and moving your house, everything
Yes.
in your house to your new house.
Yes.
And all that. But what do you think the future holds for video and photo? Are you gonna dive too deep in the church world?
Yeah,
and offer too much, or do you
I
think
think right now all of that stuff, like I have a couple projects that I'm doing that I'm kind of just wrapping up, but like I think the goal would be to do that, like continue all of those things. I will. It's just right now I'm like I gotta get through this transitional period, so let's get things settled and then get back into it.
Unless you can get $1,000 headshot gig.
If somebody's like, hey, I love your work, $1,000 for an hour, then I'd be like, yes.
Yeah, then it's worth it. Then you can make some time.
I will figure out how to make that happen.
Yeah, exactly. Even
I
if
just
it's
read between the lines. Cam, we're here for an hour and 5. I don't know if we can afford this guest.
Oh my gosh.
While we're talking about transitioning, I know you're kind of getting into new hobbies, or not new hobbies, but new habits and routines. So this is a 2-part question. How do you get creative when you're not in the mood? And the second part of that question was, what's your morning routine and or habits for success that either you've had or you're going to try to keep going?
Yeah, I think, oh man. What was the first part of that question again?
How do you get creative when you're not in the mood?
Oh, sometimes you just have to do it. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, I got to get this done. Like, you know what? Not every project has to be like this. Not every project was the Mona Lisa, right? Like, not every project is the best project you're ever going to do. I think that's the hard part about creating, is that you want your next one to be the best one. And the truth is, it's not about what the next one looks like or feels like or the story it tells. It's about what your whole, like now it's more about like what the whole thing is, because I think we need to be more, we've got to be more authentic over time, rather than like, no one follows you because of one post. I don't follow anyone because I'm like, I like that one video they did with the cats, like that's not that. I don't follow any funny cat video people. I follow the people that I've watched their videos all the time. You know what I mean? Like, so That's what I think it is. Don't make things like, don't make it your next one the best one. Make it, just make it and do your best at it in that time. And if you're not feeling it that day, like, okay, don't kill yourself to do it. Like you'll be in that creative mood in another day. Do something. Like don't let the day go by without getting something done. Because if you just, if you missed 3 days in a row, then all of a sudden you're just kind of lazy. Do something. And do it to your best ability. But sometimes the best of your ability is like, I'm just not creative today. It's just not happening. Let's come back tomorrow. The one thing that, to answer like the habits thing, I think self-discovery leads to self-regulation. And so like, I have found that the more that I discover about myself and that I think about when it comes to me, the more I can regulate stuff. One of the biggest things that I did that changed my life was to track my energy levels as it comes with time in the day. It's just that simple. I took like 3 weeks and I just wrote down notes, like how's my energy at different times of the day, and what was I doing during that energy. Sometimes there's things that you do that gives you energy, and there's things that you do that like totally suck the energy right out of you, right? And sometimes there's times of the day when you're just like on, and there's other times of the day that you're just like a potato. And so
2 o'clock in the afternoon, anyone?
Yeah, right. So whenever you match up things that don't give you energy with times that you have very little energy, it's a recipe for you not to be feeling like you're doing anything well. So yeah, just knowing when those times are. And for me, it's like the morning is my best time. If I want to give my best energy to something, I need to do it in the morning. So, if I want to get better at something, like if I want to be a better writer, I don't want to be that. I mean, it'd probably be good. Somebody probably wants me to be a better writer. But if I want to be a better writer or a better student or a better editor, whatever it is, I would do that first thing in the morning, right after I have some coffee. But like an hour after I wake up, I have like crazy amounts of energy and I'm just on, like my brain is ready. And so like if I want to work on that, I would block some time during that like an hour after I wake up, and I would just spend a couple hours doing that. So that's like, discover those times, and like, if I want to get better, I'm going to do it during my best time. And then the other thing is just like, I don't know, just not taking things so seriously. I think I take everything so serious. Like we're so used to taking things seriously. Like I think you just have to learn to have fun with stuff. And then like whenever you're, I don't know, feeling down about something, do some push-ups or run some laps or just switch things up. Like that's the funniest thing that like I remember like a year or two ago, I was like, maybe I should just do some push-ups. Like it was like I started working out all the time. And I haven't recently. I feel really bad. I'm just giving my tithe to Planet Fitness.
Yeah, I've been there.
I'm not really invested in it. I'm not really showing up and serving like I should be. But I'm giving my money.
Yeah,
that was a church joke.
That was a big church joke.
It's a burn in some ways, I guess. I don't know. Calling people out. Don't just give money. Give of yourself. Anyway, so sending my money to Planet Fitness every month and not going, but like those kind of things like really help, And so like if I was like low on energy in like the afternoon, I'd do like 20, 30 push-ups just because I'd be like, I know this is going to get me like moving in some direction. And actually like there's an accomplishment that happens, and that is like, it helps you.
It's a quick win.
It's like, okay, I mean, it's the whole like Dave Ramsey thing. Like I listen to a lot of Dave Ramsey because I think it's really funny. The people call in and they're like, I sold my house to a stranger and then I bought it back for $3,000 more than I sold it to him for. And somehow I don't know how I lost all my money, and I don't, it's like, that's no caller has ever said that, but I love listening to it. But his whole thing is like, he does like the debt snowball thing. He's like, if you want to get rid of debt, start with your smallest one, which makes no sense. Like financially, it seems like it's a stupid decision because you would, of course, pay the one that you're like have the highest interest rate on. But everything's behavioral. Like if you have a little win, like you're gonna keep going. So if you pay off that one little debt, you're gonna pay off the next one, and you're gonna get this
building that
you're
momentum.
getting momentum, right? And so I look for little wins in my like creative process to be like, okay, if I can, get to this 1 minute mark or whatever, it's like it's not a huge goal, it's a little win, if I can get through 3 of these headshots today, sweet. Like that's a little win, and for some people it might just be like, if I can get through, 3 retouches in like this hour, like that'd be awesome. Like it doesn't have to be like this crazy, huge, big goal. Set little goals and reach them. So those are things I'm trying to do.
True. We were talking about, if you get stuck creating or whatever, I feel like that would apply a lot to writing a sermon for you. Not to not to call you out, but on one occasion, I remember it was like Friday, and you're like, we were probably at B-Dubs, and you're like, what should I talk about on Sunday? I was like, what? You got
a lot
tomorrow.
of times, no. So when I say that doesn't mean I didn't have any ideas and I wasn't going in a direction, and that I didn't already have like something. I did have things written.
Way to throw them under the bus.
But there is like I think every time I've preached or written a sermon that's really important to me, there's this moment of like, is this really what it should be? And I mean, in any creative process, you're like, oh man, I've spent all this time on it. Like, what if this isn't good? I think everyone like fights that, like, is this really what it should be? And for me, it's like, okay, like, maybe it's just like an internal thing, but maybe it's God. I don't know. It's like, okay, does God really want me to say this? And I take that really seriously. Like, I mean, sometimes I think it might be the sandwich or the B-dubs that I ate for lunch, and other times I'm like, maybe it's God, And so I've tried to like be open to like, maybe things can change. And like if you're halfway through a project and you're like, man, maybe I should go in a different direction. This isn't shaping up. Like sometimes it's okay to be good with changing it. You shouldn't do that with everything. Like if your track record is like you change it, you spend 3 hours on it, and then like you're halfway, or like you spend 30 hours on it, you're halfway through it, and then you go back and you're like, maybe I should start over. Like don't have a track record of doing that, but like sometimes be open to it. Like maybe we should go in a different direction. Is not a bad. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of extra stuff, but sometimes you go through 30 hours of work to discover that wasn't the right thing, and then the next idea is way better. So,
well, the reason I bring that up was not to throw you under the bus. However, I do think it was a hilarious memory. But the reason I bring that up is because with me, like when I'm a waiter for ideas, which a lot of people would disagree with. I think.
A procrastinator?
No. I mean a waiter. And by that I mean it's like the prime example is with the name of the company, with 6'5", because I knew I wanted to start the company while I was still 18. Yeah. I started 6'5" like 2 weeks before I turned 19. I mean, it was really close, but I knew I wanted to be able to say that I started a company at 18. That was really important to me. Judge me, I don't care. That was really important to me. And I went through so many names, and like I was like, that. All of these are terrible. And I'm like, I know if I just wait long enough that it's going to happen. And then 6'5" Films came up, and I was like, it's perfect. And that was the one. It made total sense. It was just like, but I always like would wait for stuff like that. Yeah. And I still do. So I wondered, I had a deadline. I had a
deadlines. I think is the trick for you.
Well, maybe, I don't know, but I mean, I'm so happy with it. I just didn't want to not be happy with it. But anyway, that's why I bring it up, not to completely throw you under the bus.
Yeah, and I think
it is kind of funny.
Deadlines always force your hand, right? So if you don't have a deadline, like you're probably not going to do it.
Yeah, that might be true.
I think, that's what I love about making deadlines that matter to other people. That's what really motivates me. 'Cause like right now, like this is just a good example. Like right now there's like there's a I really want to be good at my new job. No one ever wants to be bad at their new job.
Right.
So I want to be good at my new job, but the like I'm like going over and above for a lot of different things, and where there's other times when it's like I know you just kind of you need a deadline for somebody to like punch through to that next thing, and so I like that right now I have a lot of deadlines that are dependent on that other people depend on, so that's a really good thing. Deadlines are a good thing. It's hard in the creative world, especially in like the solo creative world, if you're not working with a team of people to create those things, because you're your accountability. So I thrive when other people will be like, you didn't do this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want that to happen. So, yeah.
Fair.
All right. Last question.
Yeah.
How can people find and follow you if they want to see what you're up to and what's
get
going on?
$1,000 headshots?
I am the most active Instagrammer.
You are very active.
I'm really not.
You
actually.
are though with stories.
So I will say I can say this now because I've taken like it very seriously not to be on social while I've not been with my family, because I didn't want the internet knowing that I wasn't with them. So, now that I'm going to be with them forever, they would never leave my sight. Stay away, stalkers. It was one of those things where I've kind of taken, like, I was trying to be very selective about not being on there. But yeah, like, you can follow me on Instagram at Levi C. Smith. I'm actually, I think I have I have all of the at Levi C. Smiths that are out there. Like, I was weird about it. I think I'm like
claimed them all.
I was like, every time there's a new like social thing out there, I'm like, I should get Levi C. Smith for that, just so that I have it in case for some reason someday I want that. I don't have that. Yeah. So I'm on Instagram. That's like the one that I'm on. I have a YouTube channel somewhere. I don't post to it.
It's really hard to find.
I think I hid it.
That's probably why.
I think I hid the channel just because I'm not like, that's not the world that I'm living in. And unless I live in the world, like, I don't know, it's a little minimalist of me, but like, I want to do one thing well. So I'm like, I haven't updated a lot on Insta right now, but I will be, because my family's going to be with me. And it's not going to be weird that, Levi, where are you?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there has been a little bit, like, I couldn't help myself with a couple times. I'm like, I'm just going to post this random picture of like the house I'm working on. And
it's just
like,
empty.
And like, I think I posted something about some of my job stuff, but like not a ton. But yeah, I do a lot of stories. So
Vague booking this last couple weeks.
What's that?
Vague booking?
What's that mean?
When you're vague Facebooking, just like fishing.
Oh, wow. I learned a word.
Really? I'm surprised you didn't know that one.
Yeah,
I'm so old.
It's next to plagiarism in the dictionary.
It's right next to it.
Dude, thank you so much for flying all the way to Vermont.
All the way, man.
Just for this podcast.
2 flights, by the way.
Nice.
They only serve water.
2 flights, man?
Can you believe this? United. Listen, can I have a moment for United at the end here? Why was both of my flights today shorter flights? I still want the option of a soda. Okay.
What, you couldn't even get a soda?
No.
I thought you were saying like no snacks.
Would you like some water? No, they offered me snacks, but I wasn't hungry.
Oh.
And
I don't care if I'm hungry.
Watching
I don't
my
plan.
figure,
I still eat cheese.
You know?
Yeah, you haven't been at the gym lately.
Right.
I haven't been to the gym. I should watch what I mean. I
But
had a
you're
lot
faithfully
of pizza
giving to Planet Fitness.
I'm faithfully giving. It is funny that people think it's okay to just give to church and not show up. Can I say that? Like, don't treat church like your gym membership. All right. I've been thinking about this actually today. It is not okay. It's not okay to treat the church like Planet Fitness.
Wow, that is hilarious. You should coin that.
That needs to be the like your like snippet, you know?
In the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, so like whenever you post this, when you like, you know, if it's good enough to like post out there and like try and get people to listen to it, use that as it. It's not okay to treat the church like Planet Fitness.
That's hilarious.
You never go and just give them your money. Anyway.
Well, dude.
But you could give your money. It would probably be helpful.
You are
also go.
You're moving away.
I am
like
moving.
Literally tomorrow.
Not tomorrow.
We'll call it tomorrow.
Actually,
We're almost. It's almost late
45
enough.
minutes it will be tomorrow, so.
Well, hey, dude. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome. Good luck with your podcast.
Thanks brother. Have fun in Ohio.
See you later.
See ya.